Hey, what's up, YouTube world? It is your girl here, the Venusian Bull, and I am back with another series of the Planets in the Houses series videos, okay? So in this series of videos, we are going to be discussing planets in the 10th house, all right? We have reached the highest point in the natal chart. Yes, we have. So we getting there slowly but surely, okay? Like this time last year, you would have thought I would have been stopping at the third house, but here we are at the 10th house. All right. So in this introduction video, I just kind of want to give like a brief overview of kind of what we're going to be talking about. So I don't have to like repeat certain things over and over again, okay? So the 10th house does represent your career, and I have discussed career in various points as I've been discussing planets in the houses and things like that. But this is the video that you should really pay attention to when it comes to your career. Okay, so the 10th house has to deal with your career, your public standing, your reputation, your legacy, and how you're going to be known when you like kind of like leave this earth. Like, what are they going to say at your funeral? What's going to be in your obituary? A lot of that kind of has to do with your 10th house, you know, because the 10th house rules Capricorn. Okay, so remember that. So it's all about legacy. Okay, it's all about what you're leaving behind. It's all about your reputation and your public standing. So pretty straightforward, you know, no bells and whistles, just like Capricorn likes it. You know, I got my blazer on, I'm ready for business, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. It's not a whole bunch of stuff like a lot of these other placements. This is a bit of a controversial statement that I'm going to make, though. The 10th house does have to deal with the mother as well. Now, I know that most astrologers and most of you have learned that the 4th house represents the mother and the 10th house represents the father. I have kind of learned it the other way around, and it's actually been quite accurate. If you do go back to my 4th house series of videos, when I discuss the planets in the 4th house, I do discuss the father ruling the 4th house as that being, you know, the foundation. Traditionally, the father is, you know, the foundation of the family. So that's why it rules the 4th house and things of that nature. So with the mother ruling the 10th house, you're going to hear me talking about the mother more, not just with the moon, for instance, but I'm going to be talking about it, you know, throughout the planets in the houses, just so you can get perspective. And it'll really come in handy when you're looking at, like, you know, the planet that rules the 10th house, especially if you don't have any planets there. Remember, I encourage everyone to actually watch all of the videos because they all play an integral part in your natal chart. Even if you don't have planets in that house, please watch these videos. Another important thing to remember about this series of videos is that not only am I going to be talking about the planets in the 10th house, but I'm also going to be talking about the midheaven, okay, which is the highest point in the natal chart. It is also known as the MC. All right. And that represents your career and public standing as well. So, you know, the planets that you have in the 10th house, they may have a different type of energy than the sign that's on the 10th house cusp. So I'm kind of going to be doing both when I discuss it, especially when I talk about the planets that rule more than one sign. Like Mercury rules both Virgo and Gemini, and Venus rules both Libra and Taurus. So I will be discussing that. So it'll vary a little bit when I discuss Mercury and when I discuss Venus, because I have to discuss those signs on the 10th house cusps as well. So okay, so remember with these placements, I have to stress this in all of my videos because people tend to forget. All right, this energy that these characteristics that I give, the energy can be modified if you have other planets that are in the 10th house, if you have other planets that are aspecting the 10th house, especially if it's aspecting it in, you know, a challenging way or something like that. So everything could change depending on what sign is on the 10th house cusp, you know, because I'm going to be talking about both the planets and the house cusp. So like, for instance, if you have Mercury in the 10th house, but then you have Cancer on the 10th house cusp, it's going to give a different vibe than you having Mercury in the 10th house, Gemini on the 10th house cusp. I need to make this clear because some of y'all, like, y'all are getting better with this. I think it's because I'm putting these disclosures at the beginning of the videos, but I just want to stress this out, that everything is relative when it comes to astrology. It depends on so many different variables, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear before we get into these planets in the 10th house. It's going to be very interesting in this series of videos. It's going to be very straightforward. I don't expect these videos to be too long, but if they are, I'm apologizing in advance because you know how a girl likes to talk, you know what I'm saying? But I think we're going to get to the point, and I think we're going to get to the nitty gritty, and it's going to be informative, and it's going to be useful. This is very Capricornian, Capricorn, Saturnian, whatever. And I hope you like these videos. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up, y'all? All right, so we are here to discuss Uranus in the 10th house. Okay, this is going to be a fun one, y'all. All right, so having Uranus in the 10th is similar to having Uranus in Capricorn, which that starts to get generational, or having Aquarius on the 10th house cusp. Okay, all right, so let's get into this placement. All right, so Uranus in the 10th house, your career choices are wanting to be anything but ordinary. You are a revolutionary, you are an activist, you are a rebel, you are different, you are weird, you are quirky, and your career choice has to match that. Okay. This is not no like 9 to 5 sitting at a desk type of thing. Okay. We're talking about you're inventing new technology and stuff like that. So Uranus in the 10th, very, very smart, very, very intelligent. These are like the scientists, the mathematicians. These are the people who are very much engrossed in technology and, developing like new apps and software. And child, they can break a computer down and put that shit back together again. Like this is this energy. I always say Uranus is about the new, the next, and the future. Okay. Y'all are always thinking like 10, 20 years ahead in terms of what is going to, be relevant then. You're progressive in your idea of your career choices or something or anything like that. So you're gonna be innovative. Like it's hard for me to state what type of careers you had. Yes, I did mention, scientists and mathematician and technology and stuff like that. But aside from that, it's kind of like up for grabs. You know what I'm saying? You're very prone to like work for nonprofits, anything that has to deal with like activism and stuff like that, and like being, a revolutionary and things of that nature and stuff like that. Um, you could also be like an innovator for like a video game developer. This is something that's really good for that. This is very futuristic energy, so you may be going to space, child. I don't know. This is also energy that will deal with the things that others don't want to deal with, maybe like some taboo stuff. Yes, this is a placement with Uranus in the 10th that would be interested in astrology and other divination practices and other metaphysical practices as well. This is a placement where you are likely to work with large groups of people, especially like your friends. Like you could really like create a business like with your friends. Be careful of that. Y'all want to stay friends for the long term, but Uranus is like all about friendships and, organizations and groups and things like that. So, y'all will probably be okay, pending everything else in your chart is fine, to start a business with a friend. So whatever it is that you're doing is always about pushing the limits, like going the extra mile, kind of being like so close to the edge, but not quite going off. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Fool card in tarot represents Uranus, and the image is the man about to go off of the cliff. That's Uranus when it comes to your career. Like you'll jump, like almost fall off, but because y'all are so smart and like intelligent and y'all can figure shit out, you figure things out just before you might hit that ground. You know what I'm saying? So It's very, very interesting. These are very, very intellectual people. They may just call themselves, like, as a career, they just may say that they're an intellectual. And that just may cover like a whole lot of bases, okay? As for your like reputation and your public standing and your legacy, you want to be known as somebody who is forward thinking. You want to be known as someone who is progressive. You want to be known as someone who is different, and interesting and quirky and things like that, and helped like large groups of people. You know what I'm saying? You're somebody, you could be developing organizations and like nonprofit organizations for the LGBTQ community and other like activist types of groups and things like that, like, a Black Lives Matter or something along those lines. This is also someone who's a rebel. So wherever you can kind of get into situations and kind of like mix things up and challenge people and be opinionated. So this could be in writing, this can be in like doing panels, this can be in blogs and things of that nature, because you have something to say and you know it all. I always say that Aquarius and Uranus energy, they are know-it-alls to the hilt, okay? And you have a lot of information that you would like to, share. In some ways you can be somewhat of a prophet. That's why you're so like forward thinking, and um you're so like light years ahead of everyone else. Like literally, you're like, we gonna be living on Uranus in 200 years anyway. Maybe not Uranus, but possibly Mars. So we'll see about that. But also, this is also a good placement for anything that has to deal with like physical activity and things like that. But it's kind of like more of the not so like mainstream type of sports or ways to work out and things like that. So I'm trying to think of like some of these sports that are in the Olympics that aren't so like mainstream, some of that stuff, especially if it has to deal with the Winter Olympics and the cold. You know what I'm saying? Because Aquarius does have that cold kind of energy. The good thing about Aquarius and on the 10th and Uranus in the 10th house is that they're really good with working with others. So you can really be very successful when working with others. The problem with Uranus in the 10th house is that you can be a little bit erratic, a little bit too all over the place, a little bit too spontaneous. Because you don't like consistency, you actually like repel against consistency. You don't like the status quo, you don't like anything. So you're liable to be changing careers very frequently, almost like really abruptly. Like you could have been working somewhere for 15 years, like making like really good money or something like that. And you're just like, one day you're just like, I quit. I'm gonna start working on this app. Why does that remind me of Lawrence from motherfucking Insecure, where he was working on that app for all those years, but he was unemployed? Uranus in the 10th, you're gonna have some unemployed, years. You're gonna have some unemployed moments while you're trying to figure out um your avenue of choice when it comes to your business and stuff like that. But the thing about it is there's always hope for this energy, because they're so smart and they're so intelligent, but they're not like necessarily the most responsible or the most consistent and the most like reliable people when it comes to careers. So, be wary of that. Like, especially like if you marry somebody with Uranus in the 10th and they have like a good job at that time or whatever the case may be, and then they like abruptly quit, and you're like, oh my God, why did you quit? You're a lawyer. Like, you're making all this good money. What are you doing? Like, I want to work on my I'm trying to do this video game development thing. I'm going to work on that. And maybe they have savings, like maybe they were saving. Sometimes maybe that's not the case. So that's something to think about with Uranus in the 10th house. It's just all over the place. It's just very erratic. Just like they like can't control the urge to just change up, switch up, move different, do something different, and change the world. They are about changing the world. You know what I'm saying? And another thing about the switch up is that, like, this Aquarius is interesting. Okay. So like Aquarius energy and Uranus energy, like if they feel like they're getting to be too similar to people. And this is such a contradiction because they're all about groups and organizations and working together. But if they feel like whatever their career is or their project or their business is too similar to someone else's, and it's just like, they may just scrap it and start all over. And if you were working with that person, you may be like, "Oh my God, this was such a great idea! Like we looked everything up. There's no, nobody already has a patent on this invention. Like this business name has not already been taken. Like we're good. Like legally, we're good." But the Uranus in the 10th house person is like, "No, mm-mm, this is like this, and I want to be like this." Like a Uranus in the 10th house is never going to be the type of person like, like Coca-Cola came out, like, invented that, somebody did that. They're not going to be the ones that come out with Pepsi because it's too similar. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of like an exaggerated kind of example, but they're all about doing things differently. Like it's very specific, you know what I'm saying? And anything that they do, they want to be different. Like if they're in the beauty world, if they're in hair and makeup, it's all about like extravagant, like avant-garde, like makeup and costumes. Like they're the type of people that may want to do, makeup and hair for like film, like horror, like all of like the crazy, like, jacked up looking looks. Like they want to do that because that's different. They don't want to do like the prettified stuff. They want to do like the nasty, like gory, like that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, anything that's abnormal, a career in like being a sex therapist, or like a career in entertainment where they create their own type of entertainment, just anything that makes them different and makes them stand out. As for your mother, if you have Uranus in the 10th or Aquarius on the 10th house cusp, like I was mentioning earlier, just for this placement, your mother was probably very different, very odd, very quirky. You may have seen her as more of a friend than as a mother. She may have been a little bit of an absent parent because, like I said before, like Uranus energy is kind of all over the place. So she may not have always been, emotionally present. Uranus and Aquarius energy, they lack emotion. They're all about the mind, and they're all about intellect. So they may not have been emotionally in tune with you, and they could have been quite like cold and harsh in their delivery and approach to raising you, and don't understand that people actually have feelings and things of that nature, and that they need to express them. But I would say, like, on the other hand, your mother was probably like a revolutionary or something like that. She was probably like a member of the Black Panthers. Like, it's that type of energy. Like, she may have like had an invention that was patented or something like that. I don't know. Just very intellectual. Definitely gonna be learning a lot from your mother, a lot of information. And it may have been a lot to live up to your mother because that Uranus, that Aquarius energy, you don't really have to try hard in school to work and stuff like that. So they'll be like kind of similar to Saturn, like, why aren't you bringing home straight A's? Like, I did it when I was young and I was just fine. Like, and it just may be more difficult for you and stuff like that. But go to your Uranus in the 10th house. If you have this placement, Uranus in the 10th house, go to your mother so they can help you with math and science shit. Because usually they may know how to do that. Again, it's all dependent on whatever else is in the chart. Okay, don't quote me on that. But it's like math and science are not always the easiest subjects for a lot of people, especially, the more creative type of people or whatever. So if you happen to have this placement, you know, look to your mother for some assistance in those technical type of things. And they're going to be, no matter how old they are, your mother is probably going to be really abreast to any up to date technology. They're going to be on it. They're going to be on point. You probably never had to tell them how to use the latest cell phone, laptop, iPad, anything. They just know because they're already up on it. You know what I'm saying? I already told you 10, 20 years ahead. Okay. So like it's so funny. I'm thinking about how Uranus in the 10th house person will want to be remembered in like their like funeral, their eulogy or something like that. They probably have already seen it, because they're like kind of like very, prophetic and stuff like that. But they want to make sure that all of their activism and their humanitarian efforts are acknowledged. Do not forget that they were selling lemonade when they were 10 to help the homeless, okay? Do not forget about that. Do not forget about anything that they did to help humanity, okay? They're all about helping humanity. They're all about helping, the little guy, and they're about doing, I would say doing the wrong things for the right reasons, so they're gonna get the job done as well. What I'm saying? They just want to be remembered as someone who helped people, and on a global scale, and on a wide in a wide range. I can't even talk today. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of energy that Uranus in the 10th house gives. Very technology oriented, very much an intellectual, very much somebody who likes to talk. So any career that involves that would be great. If you could actually stick to one thing, you could perhaps be the next Bill Gates or something like that, or Steve Jobs, maybe. Um, so hang on to that, because y'all are smart enough to be, in that camp of people, okay? And remember, just making sure that you're looking at all your other aspects and things like that. But that's kind of the gist of Uranus in the 10th. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, if you happen to have this placement, be sure to sound off in the comments and let me know if any of this information resonates with you. Let me know if you know anyone who has this placement, and let me know if it fits, and let me know what your career choices are if you do happen to have this placement. All right. Now, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to share. Tell a friend. Tell all your friends. This is Uranus in the 10th. Okay. Tell your friends. All right. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.